think I had a nerve over here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome America's Minister of Encouragement, the Swan, Dennis Swanberg.
A man smiling with the Saints tonight, the Big Swan. I love you guys. Y'all are great folks, and I tell you what, I appreciate having with me, helping me, backing me up with a little music, tickling the ivories, putting me in the mood from time to time, covering up the dead spots. Dr. Benji Harlan, songwriter, author, this and that, everything right there. And Benji and I, we were roommates in college, and I tried to minister to him, taught him music. Listened to him play the piano in the background going, dong, 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 dong. Never would finish a whole song. Hopefully he'll do a little better today. But I'm glad to be with you saints. I love you. I look forward to that day when we come marching in to heaven, when the saints go marching in. March in there smiling, don't you think? I'm going to be smiling. Of course, there might be some lady going, well, I wasn't ready. Well, my hair was not ready. I just had a Tony. And, you know, I still had bobby pins on this side. But if it didn't bother Jesus, it doesn't bother me, I guess. I imagine everybody smiling. Man, I'm glad if I get there, amen. Some of them gonna make it by the skin of their teeth. Probably ain't gonna brush their teeth for a year, just in case. Never did know they'd go into heaven by the tartar on their teeth, you know. But I tell you, senior adults, now they're some of the happiest folks I ever bump into sometimes. They're great, they're fantastic. I get tickled at them sometimes. Try to work with them, counsel with them. But y'all are, some of you seniors, y'all are of the stage of life kind of folks where you ain't gonna get no counseling. That's ridiculous. Just take it to the Lord if you need something. I ain't gonna get no counseling. You know, he probably said, baby, I'm fine. Told you when we got married I loved you. What more do you want, woman? Look at him. Look at this, too. She's probably had him on high fiber for weeks. He's probably dreaming wicker furniture, you know what I mean? But y'all's generation is just a little different, see? My generation, we have counseling and everything. I have to talk about everything. Open up your heart, share everything. The senior adults go, oh, let's take it to the Lord. But one of these ladies in my church, she had gone to a women's conference, bought every tape. Is it good night buying all those tapes? Good night. If it ain't Conway Twitty, I don't think we need it, you know? Little Floyd Kramer maybe, but good night, all them women's conferences. Well, she came back and said, I need love. I need tenderness. I need understanding. And after 42 years, I want it. Good night.
You want me to take you to a movie?
Well, honey, the last one we went to was Sleeping Beauty.
Well, made you cry, didn't want to upset you.
So finally, I got them together in my office. I felt I needed to counsel them, and they finally both came. He wasn't really into it or for it. But I tried to talk with him, and he wasn't coming around, hard-headed redneck. I mean, he was the senior of the Bubbas, you know what I mean? Finally, I just felt I got to get through to this man, so I stood her up. I said, "Ma'am, would you please stand?" She stood up. I grabbed her, and I kissed her right on the mouth, right on the lips. I pressed on there hard, just... for 30 seconds. I said, "She needs that 3 times a week, brother."
He said, "You want me to bring her by Monday?"
I tell you, but seniors are fun. I like to go down to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, down that area. Go up there to Branson, where y'all go. So you call your kids, "We're having a good time. Saw 7 shows in 3 days. Ate at Cracker Barrel 3 times. Ate at the Golden Corral 4 times. Oh, did we eat?"
Oh, you ate. I guarantee we ate everything. Buffets. I was getting concerned I was going to run out of my orange Metamucil, I'm telling you.
And we men, some of us men, you know, we die early. You ladies, y'all are not the weaker vessel. Do you hear me? The Bible says treat them as the weaker vessel, but they ain't the weaker vessel. Y'all live a long, long time. Outlive us men. And take our insurance money, get on a bus tour and go to Pigeon Forge. Have a good time down there. Well, I was down there one time doing a big conference, and I went over to that little outlet mall. Y'all love those little outlet malls, which are communistic, I think so, you know. Everybody, my wife goes over there and buys everything. It's on sale, honey, it's on sale. But I was down there just watching my seniors. I watched this one little lady. She's about 85 years old. I called her the stalker. And she was just stalking her man. And she was after this one guy, and he was trying to get away, but he'd had both knees replaced. And he was... Finally, he gave up and just sat down on a bench. He was tired and weary. She went up to him and said, "You look just like my 4th husband."
I do.
You do?
How many times you been married?
3. Hey, these seniors, let me tell you something. Look at the shine in these seniors' eyes around you. Lord have mercy. One time they went on a swim retreat to Gulf Shores, Alabama. Wanted me to be the speaker. So I went on down there with them. Down there at Gulf Shores, a senior adult swim retreat. Some of those women wore 2-piece swimsuits. They look more like the Michelin Man, but anyhow. One man wore a Speedo and we had to send him home. There's always one in every group. Oh, but we'd have a good time. I remember one couple that I'd known, and she was sort of tough on her man. She's just tough. Come here. Come on, honey. We're going.
Okay, dear.
Sort of reminded me of that vision I had of heaven. It had 2 lines. A line for henpecked husbands, and a line for men in charge. The henpecked husbands line went for miles and miles and miles. As Billy Graham would say, forever and ever and ever and ever. But that men in charge line had one little wormy little fella, sort of like a Tim Conway. Okay there, yeah boy. Okay, dokie do. Oh, ew. Okay there, yeah boy. Simon Peter went over to him and said, "What are you doing over here?" He said, "My wife told me to stand in this line." Well, this couple, they go to the doctor's office, and you know, sometimes seniors spend a lot of time at the doctor's office, and that's just one of these things that happen. There they were at the doctor's office, and he comes out to the waiting room, and she says, "Honey, what did he say? Come on, tell me."
Well, I don't know. He said for you to come on back there, and he'll talk to you.
Because the doctor knows he ain't going to tell her everything. So he waited in the lobby. She said, "Well, you sit here, read the paper, and I'll be back in a minute." Goes back there into the doctor's office, and he said, "Ma'am, your husband needs tender loving care. He needs that soft touch. He needs foot rubs. He needs back rub. He needs you to just sort of whisper in his ear and tickle his ear every now and then. He needs a little loving. 2 or 3 times a week, give him some special loving, sweet touch. You need to cook him everything he needs. You need to let him watch television and let him have that remote control. And just let him punch on that all he wants to. You need to let him play golf when he feels led. Let him go deer camp and just hang out. He doesn't need any stress, ma'am, if you want him to live a long and happy life." She said, "Okay, Doc, thanks for the news." Went out to the lobby and said, "Let's go." He gets up. Get in the car, and he said, "Well, baby, what did the doctor say?" "You're gonna die." Oh, you think that's bad? These seniors, I tell you, they have a way. Now, this one man, his wife went on to be with the Lord, been married 30-something years. And he went to the funeral director and he said, "I want to have me a tombstone. I want you to carve on there, the light of my life just went out." They said, "We can do that. It's going to cost you." "I got a CD or two I'll cash in. Carve it in there. The light of my life just went out." So they did. A couple weeks later, he went with a church group, went on down there, went on up to Branson, senior adult group. And he came back home, went to the funeral director and said, "Can y'all add anything to that tombstone?" So, "Well, we got a little space left." He said, "Add in there, but I think I struck up another match." Life goes on. Keep on smiling, and when you smile, the whole world smiles with you. You have a new life, and you have a vigor and a vitality. Sort of like that 90-year-old man in Teenagers. Went to Teenagers every Thursday. All of a sudden didn't show up one Thursday and didn't show up the next Thursday, and then the word was out. Married a 35-year-old woman. His doctor took him aside. "Did you realize that marrying that young woman could be life-threatening?" He said, "If she dies, she dies." Old Pat Butcher, one of my all-time favorites. "Let me tell you about a cute couple. They were on the front porch in their rocking chairs, rocking back and forth together. Sometimes would hold hands if they could reach. One time they was rocking away and she said, 'Honey, love, remember how you used to sort of just squeeze my hand 3 times? I love you.' He said, 'I sure do.' She said, well, do it. So he grabbed her hand, squeezed it 3 times. Then she said, honey, remember how you used to squeeze on my knee and tickle me on my knee? He said, I remember. She said, well, do it again. So he reached over there and squeezed her knee, and she went, oh. I think I had a nerve over here. And then she said, why don't you chew on my earlobe like you used to? Remember when you used to chew on my earlobe? He said, I remember when I chewed on your earlobe. That little hangy down part right there. She said, well, do it again. He got up, started walking away. She said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to get my teeth. Smiling with the saints. When you smile with the saints, the whole world smiles with you. When you smile, Mom and Dad, Mama and Papa, your kids smile with you. Aren't grandkids great? These kids that are here, you're wonderful. We love you. I remember one time during the welcome time, you know how everybody gets up and shaking hands and how you doing? It's always precious to see a grandchild go all the way around the church to find Papa. This little boy, he came all the way around. He went over there. He went, Papa. Hi, Papa.
He said, hey, how you doing, boy? Hey, biggin', hey, biggin'. You a man? You a man?
I'm a man. I'm a man.
You a big man?
I'm a big man.
All right, good to see you.
Papa,
Yeah?
talk like a frog.
What now?
Talk like a frog.
Talk like a frog? Why do you want me to talk like a frog?
He said, well, Papa, Mama said, when you croak, we're going to Hawaii. Oh, I could hear her humming. This is the moment I've waited for. Okay, all right. Oh, I tell you what, one of my all-time favorite senior adults was Jimmy Stewart. And many of y'all don't know that one time he went to the barber to get a shave. And some folks had never, some of you men have never had a shave from a barber. Well, I hadn't either. I went over to Leonard's barber shop and I said, Leonard, I've never done it, but I want to do it. I want to shave. Can you give me a shave? And Leonard's getting a little older, and he said, well, I ain't as steady as I used to be, but I'll let my sugar babe over here, she can shave you. Well, I didn't know about letting a woman shave me, but I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so she gave me a shave with an old straight edge. Remember those straight edge? And what a shave. Well, a couple weeks later, my beard hadn't come back. 2 months go by and still not a whisker, not a nub, not a shadow. And finally I went back to him. I said, Leonard, since your wife shaved me, it hadn't come back. And he said, well, you know, my wife's name is Grace and she's a Baptist, you know. And once shaved, always shaved. That's for you Baptists, okay? For you others, well, just go, well, I don't know about that. But anyhow, oh, smiling with the saints. I'm going to tell you what, when you're smiling. There's something about the believer. When he lets the smile come forth, that folks just sort of get happy. You know, there's just something about it. I was on a plane one time, got to be on a plane with old Muhammad Ali. Can you believe that? Several years ago, I was flying out of South Bend, Indiana. He comes in on the plane, and I'm sort of out of it. It's early in the morning. He grabs my knee. I look up, it's Muhammad Ali. I couldn't believe it. I went, Muhammad, Muhammad. And he said, I'm sitting over here. I went, man, Muhammad. And he sat down, and he's got that Parkinson's disease, and I started helping him get buckled up and everything. I said, Muhammad, I've been imitating you and Howard Cosell for years. I said, I do that for a living. He said, let me hear you do Howard. I said, no doubt about it, but what about Smoking Joe Frazier? I'm talking about Joe Frazier. I tell you what, when they ring that bell, I'm gonna jump over the rope, whoop you, Howard Cosell. He leans over to me and says, you're good. And when he did that, I just started doing everybody else. Started doing old Slim Pickens. And I started telling him stories in the voice of Slim. I even told him some stories as Forrest Gump. I love Forrest Gump. I love Dr. Pepper. Makes me go. At 10, 2, and 4. Remember that was on the bottle, ma'am. 10, 2, and 4 on Dr. Pepper bottle. Oh. Hey, and some of you right now, I know I've been going a while. Some of y'all are probably saying, I gotta go. Well, just Saturday, if you need to, slip on out and go. Doesn't bother the old swan. Some of y'all ain't worried about it anyway. Y'all got on Depends. And I've decided when my day comes, I'm getting the best pair of Depends they got out there. And every time I go to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge or go to Branson, I ain't getting up, I ain't missing one show, one song. I'm gonna enjoy the whole thing. You see, it all depends, amen? Oh. Benj, give me just a little bit of sort of that soft, let me call you sweetheart kind of background touch there. I got to tell you one of a senior adult, all-time great story. Laverne. I don't know if you got a Laverne in your church, but this Laverne was in my church when I was in Texas, up in North Texas. And Laverne was in charge. Laverne was tough. Her man had been with Jesus for about 20 years, you know. And she was the type at business meetings that would just share her heart, you know. And she'd just hop up there and say, I'd like to make a motion and second it. I said, Laverne, you can't do that. I think I just did it, Brother Dennis. She had her hair pulled back and sort of a donut knot, you know, and she didn't wear much makeup, didn't believe in that. And she'd say, we're going to have Vacation Bible School and we need some ant killer. I make a motion, we get 3 bags, spread it out on our church and move the ants over from our church to the Methodist church for a little while. And then we can get 3 more bags for them to move them back over to us when they have their Vacation Bible School. I think God's in it. All in favor say aye, aye, aye. And I'm just going. But you know, that kind of Laverne. One day I was in my office there in Texas, working, you know, thinking. All of a sudden she knocks on my door and I open the door and say, hi, Laverne, how you doing? Well, I'm here to talk to you and I'm not in the mood for your little funny stuff. I don't want to hear an impersonation, okay? I said, well, lighten up, Laverne. Well, it's something serious, okay? Could you be serious? One time. I went, well, Laverne, I've never seen this side of you. Oh, sure I can. What's the matter, Laverne? Well, I want to know, do I have biblical grounds to remarry? I said, well, Laverne, if you want to get married, get married. She said, I don't care what you think. I want to know, what does the Bible say? The only thing that came to me was 1 Corinthians 7. I said, well, the Bible says it's better to marry than to burn. She said, well, I'm not burning, but I'm sizzling. Laverne. Well, you asked and I told you. I said, who's the lucky fella? She said, well, you know Bubba. He drives the butane truck. His wife died 7 years ago. And we feel like it's biblical number. 7's complete, so it's been time. I said, how long have y'all known each other? Well, a long time. We waited 7 years. I said, well, Laverne, that just, you don't have to wait that long. Well, you preached a sermon on 7. Said it was complete in the fullness of time. I went, well, okay, yeah. Well, when do y'all want to get married? Well, are you doing anything this afternoon? I said, Laverne? She said, well. So I said, all right, good night, I can. You want me to go call Bubba? He's out in the truck. So I went out there and I said, I'll be right back. I said, Bubba, I hear about it. He said, yeah, I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm excited. I said, one thing I need to let you know about Laverne if you don't know. You know that she buried her husband, don't you? In the backyard, right by the back porch. It's really illegal, but they didn't want to mess with Laverne. He said, I've seen it, a big old tombstone, big tombstone. Well, that's right. And, you know, every night before she goes to bed, she usually has a little coffee, talks to him, says goodnight to him, you know what I mean, kisses him goodnight and everything. He said, I've heard it, yeah, I know she doesn't. But I'm peculiar too, Brother Dennis, I'm peculiar too. I went, well, okay. As long as you know that. We went inside. She's pretty astute to what goes on. She said, did you talk to him about the tombstone in my backyard? I said, yes, I did, Laverne. Well, he knows about it, and he's a nut, too. I said, well, all right. So I got my secretaries in and my maintenance folks, and we just had a little congregation there, and I gave them the wedding vows, and they kissed. That was the first time they'd ever kissed. They were of that tribe that didn't believe in that kissing until holy matrimony. They are the last of the Mohicans, let me tell you. It's the most precious kiss you've ever seen. And then we fellowshipped, and I said, where y'all going on your honeymoon? She said, we're going out in my house, gonna live in my house. Ain't no need to spend money on some hotel. We're gonna live out there. We've already made that decision. I looked at him, he went, oh. I saw him about 3 weeks later at the B&G Cafe, the Barf and Gag. He was by himself. I couldn't help it, man. I couldn't help it. I went over and sat down next to him. I said, hey, Bubba, tell the old swan about the honeymoon. I'm your pastor. I need to know these things. He said, well, we went on out to we stopped at the grocery store and got us a little swirly ice cream cake. We went on out there and we sat out on the porch and we had some coffee and swirly ice cream cake. Then we got up, you know, to leave and was about to, you know, leave, and she looked out at his tombstone. Brother Dennis, I felt like I had to assert myself. I grabbed her, I turned her to me, and I kissed her 30 solid seconds, just right on the mouth. When I let her go, she stumbled backward. Took her breath away. She looked at me, she looked at Harley, she looked at me, she looked at Harley, she looked at me, she looked at Harley, and went, Harley. I'm glad my mama wasn't here. She'd say, I don't think that was appropriate. Oh, reminds me of her friend, Lucille, who told me one time, she said, Brother Dennis, when I die, I want to have women be my pallbearer. I said, well, Lucille, why is that? Well, if they're not willing to take me out while I'm living, I ain't letting them take me out when I'm dead, you know. She hadn't found her a Bubba yet, okay. Oh, you know, when you smile with the saints, you can't help but think about some of those saints that have been in our presence and gone before us. that have touched us. And I want to do a tribute as I close this evening about heaven from one of those that I think that you love and that I love. And to me, he was a great American, a great president, Ronald Reagan. And so I'm going to use his voice as we close. When I picture heaven, and quite often I do, I may not think of things that mean most to you, like jasper walls or gates of pearl, so beautiful to behold, or mansions standing everywhere on streets of solid, gold. For that's not what appeals to me or fills my heart with bliss, because I've never had enough of that, I guess, to get me spoiled. I guess the human mind can't comprehend the beauty there to see. But this, my friend, is really what heaven means to me. It's a place where night will have vanished away. It's a place for the ages of time, which will be one long day. The weather will be perfect and the food, it'll be fine. We'll never have to hurry because there'll be no more time. And up there in heaven, we won't ever cry, no bills to pay, and ladies, nothing to buy. And the sting of death will never be felt again. Another thing to me that will make heaven so fair is my mom and dad will both be there. And looking so young and fair to see, not old and wrinkled like they used to be. I want to kiss Mom and hear her whisper in my ear, I've been waiting for you, son. I'm so glad you're here. And Dad will say, boy, there's no more fears. And we'll sit down and just talk for maybe 100 years. Try to imagine the thrill, if you can, of seeing all the old saints and get to shake their hands and hear all the stories of things they've done, and maybe live right next door to old James or John. It's going to make it wonderful if we make it through to this beautiful land He's made for me and you. But all that I've mentioned won't ever even compare to the main thrill that awaits us when we all get up there. And that is to see Jesus, the one who died for me, and to live in His presence throughout all eternity. I'll just sing forever without a trouble or care. That's what heaven is to me. I hope I will meet you there. Through Jesus Christ, I will meet you there. And when we get there, there'll be a glow on every face. There'll be laughter filled with grace, because smiling with the saints is not just something we will do. It's something God will be doing. Because the Bible says when one repents and comes to Christ, that there is joy in heaven, and the angels stand in awe and presence with joy as they behold the joy and happiness and, if you will, the smile of God when one of His children's coming on home. I'm going to be smiling with the saints then, so why not be smiling with the saints now? How about you? And when you smile, the whole world smiles with you. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. God bless you. Keep smiling. Keep smiling. Keep smiling. And enjoy all of life too. Keep smiling. Thank you. Benji Hart. Thank you, all of you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.